Okay, how about now? Good now? Nothing now? How about now? How about now? How about now? Yes! All right, we're in business. Ugh, I worked in television for a gazillion years, it seemed like. Awesome. Good, good. We're all good. I worked in TV for a lot of years in sports television, entertainment, did award shows, did all kinds of cool stuff. It was really fun at the time. And good evening, Lena and friends. I thought it was my computer, so I shut down. Yay, there you are. Yes. Hello, True L and ES and Patricia. Hi. So good. So good to be here. So good to be on. Um, I don't do a show every day or anything like that. I just, it's not what I want to do personally, but I do want to do regular shows, weekly, and maybe 3 times a week or something, you know, see how it goes, and occasionally, do some live streaming and stuff like that. But I've been doing videos and stuff since 2014, since I transitioned basically, and I have enjoyed sharing my life with you guys. And sometimes it's been very difficult to share my life with you guys, but nevertheless, I have enjoyed it. I have many of you have watched me grow as a person and an individual, and this time um, is a unique time right now in my life. There's lots of changes, lots of things that are going to be taking place. It's going to be an interesting and exciting time to watch this channel, because you're never going to know exactly what is going to take place, what's going to happen, but it's going to be good. I guarantee you, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be really neat. And I'm so looking forward to the future. This morning, um, I was just thinking about my life and where I've been and things that I've been through, stuff that I've had to deal with. And yesterday wasn't such a great day. I had a call from my sister, and it was a little tempestuous, I would say. I mean, I love her to pieces, I really do. But we struggle in understanding each other, and I don't blame her for not understanding me. But I've always just wanted to get a fair shake, and I am a defensive person by nature. And when people come at me in an accusatory manner, trying to understand, but then asking in a already decided manner, it's difficult to communicate. So yeah, yesterday was a trying day. It was difficult, but I got through it, and I'm better today. I'm super super recovered from that experience. And I hope someday that my sister and I can see eye to eye, and we could actually have a honest, decent conversation. um, I have heard that there are people that do come and check the channel out to see what little brother's doing or whatever, or see what you know the baby's doing or whatever. And it's like, I'm 49, hello, almost 50. So, but I appreciate them checking on me, and it means that they love me, right? That's what that means. So I'm grateful that they reach out, at least, which is nice. But yeah, I guess so. I guess family is like that for for most people, Patricia, that is definitely, they say that blood is thicker than anything, whatever, breath is thicker than water. I don't know, whatever the terminology is. But basically stating that blood connections are the closest connections you're going to have in life. And I personally believe that family is who you make your family to be. People that support you, people that love you. And it doesn't matter if they're blood or not, if they accept you and see you for who you are, not who you want to be, not who you, create yourself to be, but just the individual, and the individual that I am, and legally, for all intents and purposes, is Lena, and soon to be Lena Lopez. I'll get my name back, and it's going to be. I've always liked my last name. It's always been something. It's like the common name for Latin Smith or Jones or whatever, Lopez, right? Jennifer Lopez. It's just so common, right? But I like it. It's always been something that I had a hard time leaving that name behind me, and adopting the new one. But I did it because that's what you do when you get married. So anyway, it was a wonderful experience. And I look at everything as an experience. Everything has a reason and a purpose. And, these last 4 years have had a reason and a purpose. And I am grateful for every moment, be they good, be they not so great. But, at the end of the day, we all become better people because of it. Hopefully, right? Hopefully. Well, anyway, I was out walking this afternoon. We went to the co-op to get our groceries because we're supposed to get dumped on. We're supposed to get like 7 to 12 inches or something, and up in the mountains, like crazy amounts. And we're about 6,000 feet. So the bad snow is supposed to be coming in at the 7,000 foot level. And, that's something that I don't mind winter weather. It doesn't bother me necessarily, especially if we're ready for it. Like, ready meaning that we have food in the cupboards. And, I've stopped doing the 1 meal a day thing, but I do like eat the bulk of my calories in the daytime. And as it gets later in the evening, it gets to be less and less beneficial time to put anything in your mouth, because your body's just going to be digesting. So after 8 o'clock, pretty much you don't want to be eating, because it's not good, right? But I did buy some popcorn at the co-op today, so I may be, not tonight, but one of these evenings I'll make some early popcorn, like at 6 or something like that, and have some of that. Or before that, because Marta has a show at 5:30. I don't want to be popping popcorn during your live show. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have, like we were missing our coconut milk, and so we ended up I ended up walking downtown, and that's where I made that video, and getting a few things. There was like some basil that they had on clearance for like 99 cents, and bought a couple of grapefruits, and I bought myself some filberts, hazelnuts, I guess, to snack on as I went walking, and that was cool. And I found I think I went to this little store that was like, we usually got our incense from it in the past. And I found like 4 items for $1 each or something. I'm wearing some warm sweats that, it gets cold here, so I got some sweats. I got a couple more tops, it was like $1, right? So it was cool. And some capris, that were $1 as well. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm planning on staying here through the end of my lease here in July. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, and things are going to be different. I used to defer a lot to Maritza, but no, I'm not. I'm just going to take care of things as I see fit with regards to everything that needs to get paid and stuff like that. So, but I'm just, going to go independent, more independent. I'll probably not go to the gym every morning as we've been doing in the past. When it gets warmer, I like to get on my bicycle and go for like extended rides out in the country. Patricia says, you should see my basement and my barn. I've been storing long-term storage food for several years. Well, can I come over when the end of the world happens? That would be a wonderful place to be, right? I love hazelnut coffee candies, and hazelnuts. I do too. I never used to be a coffee drinker, but that's one thing in the last probably 2 years that I have become is an avid coffee drinker, and it doesn't matter now if it's hot. I mean, not hot. I like it hot. I don't like it cold. It doesn't matter if it's dark. It doesn't matter if it's light or medium or whatever. It doesn't matter at all. So now I'm just like a coffee aficionado. And it's always nice to have a warm cup of coffee, a hot cup of coffee in the morning. And that's something that I still do. I don't eat the big salad with the grains and the protein and stuff as much anymore. I'll just do like a bowl of oatmeal. I'll make oatmeal for the two of us, and then she'll make, her 1 meal a day meal, and I've been adding like 2 slices. I've been doing 2 slices of toast with that organic peanut butter, and what else? I cut up an extra banana, so I'll be eating extra fruit in the morning. And yeah, so hi, Suzanne, Blue Bottle Bunny Farm. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for your nice, friendly comment earlier. That was really sweet. You love coffee. You love coffee. You're in Alabama, right? Is that where you're at? I hate cold coffee, Patricia says. I bought one of those refrigerated coffee drinks. I had to spit it out. It was awful. Yeah, I would say. I mean, I guess, I don't know if I would like it in the summer. I don't know. Because I do like the taste of coffee now. So I might like it in the summer, but I don't know. Coffee seems to be better warm or hot, right? Not cold. So where in Alabama? I used to work down in Birmingham every now and then. There was this church down in Birmingham. I forget the guy's name. He was a pastor at this church that they did an online stream that I used to work for the Southern Baptist, and we used to go down there and record it. It was called Secret Church. Matt, oh my gosh, I forget his last name. But he was a young pastor in the Birmingham area. I think Birmingham is a really pretty city. Lots of really cool countryside and the mountains there. It's beautiful, beautiful place. I work in Birmingham. Oh, you do? That's cool. it kind of reminds me of a miniature Nashville in a way. But I used to love the ribs down in Birmingham. When I was a meat eater, there was a place called Dreamland. You remember that place? All they did was serve ribs and bunny bread. And that was the whole menu. It wasn't anything else. It was pork ribs and bunny bread. And I was like, so are you guys going to have fries? Do you guys have baked potato? They're like, nope. All we got is Dreamland pork ribs and bunny bread. And trust me, you will not be disappointed. And I was like, really? And I wasn't. But I'm not a meat eater anymore. I love our four-legged friends. I think it's a disaster to eat, you know, loving creatures like that. And, you know, I could never shoot a deer personally because those big, beautiful eyes that they have. I mean, and then watching Bambi as a kid, you know, I mean, kind of traumatizes you, you know, I mean, and then you think about Rudolph. I love Rudolph, you know, the red-nosed reindeer. I wouldn't want to eat Rudolph, you know. So, but I know people have their traditions, and you know, I used to live in Minnesota, so people used to hunt all the time, and I'd get invited to go hunting, and I'd be like, no, thank you. I don't really. I remember my brother-in-law one time, he's like, I'm gonna go hunting about 30 minutes away from north of you up in Princeton, Minnesota. Would you like to go, you know, would you like to go kill a bear with me? I'm like, um, Smokey? No, I don't think so. You know, a mama bear and her cubs? No, I don't think so. So anyway, um, but yeah, oh yeah. Patricia says I was baptized in two different Baptist churches. Well, what a coincidence. Baptist and baptized in a church. I mean, the Baptist church, you know, it's like that's where people get baptized, right? Their namesake. I own a hot dog cart in front of Lynn Park. Is that in downtown Birmingham? Susan, is that there? Oh, I love that. I love that term. You are such a Southern woman. Bless your heart. I love that term. I miss that term because I lived in Nashville for, let me see, I moved there working for a Christian network called Trinity Broadcasting Network in 1995. Yeah, I lived there in 95 and I was there until 99, almost the end of 99. And then I ended up moving my family up to Minnesota, and we were there for like almost 10 years. And then in 2009, I came back to Nashville. And to this day, my three of my kids and my ex lives in outside of Nashville, and they love it. And it's a great place. It's growing. Home values are up. There's lots of construction. There's lots of new homes going up in that area. So they landed pretty well. When my daughter was little, we had venison for supper while my daughter was watching Bambi. Oh, that is just that's just wrong. Can I just say that's wrong? My daughter was watching Bambi. My husband said to her, "Do you know you're eating Bambi's mother?" Is that not trauma for a child to have to be watching Bambi and then to have like venison? I don't know. It's sad. It's sad. I love Nashville, Blue Bottle Bunny Farm. Oh, yes. I lived in Hendersonville, just outside of Nashville, northeast of Nashville, over by the old Hickory Lake and the area where um, Johnny Cash had his home, had his palatial um, estate or whatever. They used to say that Hendersonville was 52 stoplights from downtown Nashville. And it's where lots of country music artists would get away because it was like close enough to be close to downtown, but far enough away to be out in the countryside so they could go fishing and, do what they do and stuff. And yeah, I love Nashville too. It's beautiful, beautiful area, rolling hills, green, you know. I thought about moving back to Nashville, given it some thought, but I don't know. I mean, I personally don't want to be, a detriment to my ex and pose as some kind of a annoyance, by being there as a trans woman. And, I really do want to be gracious to stay out of her way and out of the kids' way and stuff like that. But I would love to see my children. I haven't seen them. Three of them. I have not seen them since June of 2014, if you can believe it. Here we are in 2019. So it was a weird coincidence. The venison was given to me and I made porcupine balls with it. What in the world are porcupine balls? Can you explain? I don't know what porcupine balls are. So Phoenix I am. Hello, Phoenix. Thank you so much for coming over and saying hello. Hey, Lena, you would never have made it on the farm with me. Much love. Well, I mean, my ex was a farmer's daughter, so I saw what farm life was all about, and they had little piggies and older piggies, 1 year old piggies, and piggies of all kinds, right? And they also grew soybeans and feed corn up in Minnesota. So I do know something about farm life. I lived in an area that was very, very much kind of farm country. It's like the stuffing put into stuffed cabbage. Okay. I like stuffing. Phenol, I'm a farm girl too. Oh my tablet is making noise again. It's talking. It's saying that. I turn off the internet because I don't want the Wi-Fi to be stealing bandwidth from me when I'm doing the show and stuff. And I turned it off for Maritza too. So it is trauma, Phoenix says. It's trauma? What's trauma? I'm not quite sure what you're saying is trauma. Did you hear, Phoenix, that somebody was saying that the United States should sell Montana to Canada for $1 trillion so that they could get out of some kind of debt? How would you feel about that if you became Canada? Montana became Canada. Because they said, oh, it's a big empty space. And, I was in Montana and I didn't get to the most beautiful parts of it because I know that, up by Glacier, out by, the mountains and stuff like that, it's so Billings, I think. No, is it Billings? No, I think that's where I was. But yeah, it's a beautiful state. I think it's an awesome place. Japan owns it anyway, or is it China? Does China own it or does Japan? I don't know. But wide open spaces. I mean, I remember anytime I've driven through Montana, it's always been like the sky goes forever and ever and ever. I raise meat rabbits, but I love on them too. Sorry, Lena. Oh, I know. We were talking to you about that on one of our shows that we did. Maritza and I did. Um, it's like, yeah, rabbits. I mean, I don't know how you can kill Thumper. I really don't. I don't understand that. So you love on them before you kill them? I mean, it's just sad. But everybody's got their own things that they need to do, and I respect everything that you do, and I just don't believe in killing things to eat them. I just think it's part of the God of this world. It's part of his system. It's like when man fell or whatever, he killed something to put their skin on them or something, and it's like, so I mean, I just think that there's so much wonderful food that we have here that actually grows. Love on some, eat others. Rabbits eat poo, said Patricia. Patricia's calling out the truth. Ted Turner and Jane Fonda own lots of land in Montana. I remember that movie, A River Runs Through It, Robert Redford. Beautiful, beautiful film, beautiful scenes, wonderful cinematography. All Montana, beautiful country. Rabbits eat poo. Okay, so Phoenix says, I never worry. 13 Colony, Wounded Knee, remember. I did watch something about Wounded Knee, and, that's where they supposedly massacred men, women, children, babies. The cavalry, killed a bunch, and in the middle of the night and in the freezing cold temperatures. And I think, was it one of the last Native American chiefs that was murdered or something. I remember reading about it. But the story hasn't been told right. Just like the story of Columbus wasn't told right, just like the story of World War II and Pearl Harbor wasn't told right, just like 9/11 wasn't told right. There's lots of stuff that's been hidden, lots of stuff that's been buried, and only when you go digging for it yourself do you find out, oh my gosh, the rabbit hole. Literally, the rabbit hole goes deep. It's sad we have to eat each other on this planet. Plants just don't do it for me. I'm an omnivore. Well, I was a meat eater, and as a former meat eater, I can honestly say that plants do it for me. Plants and grains and all those wonderful things that grow in the ground, the the potatoes and all the different root vegetables and stuff. I mean, they're so yummy. And food is all about texture. It's all about, flavorings and stuff like that. So I could put flavor on jackfruit. I could put flavor on a piece of like temp. I really enjoy temp. I think it's awesome. Tofu. You can make really great like lasagna with tofu. You can make scrambled eggs with tofu, and you just like add nutritional yeast, or I mean, it's like so many things you can do. It's amazing. So, as a former meat eater, I can honestly say that I don't miss going to Outback. I don't miss going to Dreamland Ribs. I don't miss eating the things that that I used to eat that were honestly, they were not good for me. They actually killed my dad, to be honest with you. My dad died of colorectal cancer. And colorectal cancer is something that happens when, I mean, my dad had problems with his esophagus and swallowing. They put a balloon in his throat or something, I forget what they're called, but it's like something to allow them to swallow food and stuff. And I remember he would be sitting there, we'd be eating a steak at a restaurant, and he'd be like almost choking on it. And he's like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. And then he would like take time, chew it more, and then I guess it would swallow. I don't know. But he passed away back in 2005. And I honestly do believe that it's because he ate too much meat, had lots of pork. Puerto Ricans love their pork, love their lechon asado, and it is like a delicacy. Um, my grandfather on my mom's side. One time we were vacationing in Puerto Rico over Thanksgiving holidays, and he was like wanting to let all the young children, all the grandchildren, be able to go see the early morning killing of the fatted hog, that they were going to use, the little piggy. And I refused to go. And my cousins were like, "Oh no, let's go. It's all exciting, let's go." So they get up and they went down there, and I heard the sounds of a squealing pig, and I was like crying in my pillow because I knew that that pig was getting killed. That little, I mean, I watched Charlotte's Web. I loved the little porker that was in Charlotte's Web. I mean, but I was a kid that, remember that Lucy episode where Lucy and and Ethel were like, they had gotten into the chicken raising business. Remember what happened? They started incubating them in that, or they put them in the room, and it was like hot, and then they started hatching. And I mean, I would be like, as a kid, I would take eggs out of the refrigerator, and I would put them in the stove, in the oven, so I could heat them up so they could live. And I didn't think that, you know, that I guess that didn't work. But that I felt like, maybe they could hatch and I could let them go free. Maybe, who knows, right? So the warmest coat I ever owned was made out of rabbits, says Patricia. Rabbit fur. It's sad. Yeah, you said that. Our story, not theirs, my family. Yes, history is mostly lies. Yeah, that's the truth. My chief. Oh, your chief was murdered? Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, Phoenix. I love eggs. I would miss eggs. Yes. I mean, I agree. I love eggs too, but eggs are, when you think about it, I don't even want to go into what eggs literally are, but you know, if you are a woman, there are periods, moments, and chickens have them too. That's all I'm going to say. So, anyway, Wilbur. Yes, Wilbur. Exactly. Wilbur. If more people saw how these farms run, they would never touch meat again. I know. It's true. I mean, my in-laws had had a pig farm, okay? And I remember, my mother-in-law, ex-mother-in-law would go down to the farm. She was to the barn, and she was responsible for breaking their teeth, when they were first the little baby piglets were born. She was responsible for castrating them and for breaking their teeth. I mean, it's like, what is that even ethical to do that? I mean, to little innocent animals? I mean, would you break the teeth of a child? Would you well, I guess they do castrate somewhat, by circumcising little boys and stuff, but it's not the same thing as castration, right? Complete castration. That's what they do to some of these little piggies and stuff, and it's really, really sad. And if you would see what goes on in some of these places, I want you guys to like just consider thinking about these sentient beings, these fellow earthlings, and take a gander at the movie Earthlings and see if, after you watch that, if you could stomach seeing food the same way, meat the same way. Because I don't. Honestly, don't. If more people saw, yeah, you said that. I visited an Amish man who kept his baby chicks in his bed to keep them warm. Aw, that's nice. Killing pigs is the worst. Bathtubs of hot boiling water after they're shot in the head. Yeah, I mean, you watch some of these videos that they have on YouTube and on Netflix and these documentaries about Food Inc. and all this stuff. It's like, wow, wow. There's this procedure that they take cattle through where the cows are led to the slaughter and they don't even realize it, but they're like kind of fooled into thinking they're going into some safe space. The next thing you know, they have their throat slit and they're lifted up off on a conveyor, and it's gross. It really is. It's gross. It's that's all I can say is it's gross. And it's really sad what happened to the buffalo. It was a staple of Native American life. Life was with the buffalo, and the buffalo was honored. I remember, you know, watching some documentary at some national park monument or something, Native American History Museum or something, when we were on our journey, and they honored every piece of the animal, and they respectfully used it because I mean, when you're in Montana, for instance, or North Dakota, you can't really grow tropical fruit, right? So um, in the wintertime, they have to eat meat in order to survive, and I think that the natives had a better concept of what it meant to honor um, the sacrifice of a fellow earthling, you know, honestly. That was live at my grandfather's farm. Wow. They cut the pigs' tails and ears off before they slaughter them. Wow. Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad what happens. But I just think as humans, we are meant for more, and I think that a lot of times, we do things that are indicative of the condition of our society, you know. Murder is something commonplace, in our society. Big cities deal with murder every night, someone's getting killed. So you see stuff on TV and it's like portrayed as if it's nothing. Like we went to go see I don't like slasher films or anything, but we went to go see the last Halloween movie, and I've never seen any of them, but it was like murder for murder's sake. And it was like, what does this do to the mentality of people when they see these things, when they are conditioned to just look at murder and not think of it as anything, it really, and I mean, video games, kids playing those, I don't know, World of Warcraft, or I'm not sure what all kids play these days. I mean, back in the day, there was a Nintendo 64 game, and I'm dating myself because I used to like to play it. It was like James Bond GoldenEye or something like that, and it was like this role-playing game where you were James Bond and you were like trying to get through a maze and trying to get, to different levels and stuff, and you'd have to shoot people, and it wasn't a big deal, but it conditions the mind to think that killing is okay. So anyway, I was going to continue on my discussion a little bit about the two seeds. I entitled this show Good Seeds and Bad Seeds. Oh, and I was going to talk a little bit about the recent scandals. So I don't have an article about the recent scandals or anything, but I've lived through these scandals in the past, and I just find it really interesting and kind of karmatic that now the focus is going to the Protestant denominations and churches. And when you realize that now 1 in every 11 pastors in the United States, 1 out of every 11 Protestant ministers, is actually engaged in some form of sexual abuse, either with children, with parishioners, with people that come in and chat with them for counseling, the laying on of hands ministry, which is literally laying on hands. You know, it's really, really sickening what's happening. And I'm just glad that a time of revelation is happening and that there's a great apocalypse and a revealing of the indiscretions of these men of God, you know, that they call themselves. And I guess they are men of God because to me, when I think of the term God, I think of 2 Corinthians 4:4, when Paul talks about the God of this world. And I mentioned it earlier in another video, the Cosmocrator, which is, you know, the God of this cosmos, the one who placed the earth here and put us in these meat bodies, you know, and stuff. So, in this three-dimensional reality, that God is the minister that they're talking about. That's that these ministers serve, you know, and I'm really sickened by what I see and what I have seen with my own eyes by being a person who used to work in Christian television and with Christian ministries and very closely with many people in the Southern Baptist Convention, which was named specifically in an article that the Houston Chronicle and the San Antonio Press did, I think, and it implicated like over 650 clergy people all over the United States. I even watched this really disgustingly sad video of little girls that were part of mommy and daddy who went off to the mission field, and they put their little girls into these boarding schools across, you know, overseas, like the Philippines or wherever. And they had these dorm dads or something that would go in and they would abuse these little girls, literally abuse them in the night and take away their innocence, molest them. And these people were Christian, right? So I was just like appalled. And these women now are older and they're telling their stories. I am just shocked at what I'm hearing. You know, the reality is that the church is guilty of so much sexual sin that it would make your head spin. And it's not just the Catholic priest abusing little boys. I mean, that's not what this is about. This is about people that are absolutely disgusting and mainstream names that I'm sure are going to come out. Jeffrey Doherty said, if people were to know what Billy Graham was engaged in, they would be appalled. Appalled. You would never imagine that this is something that could possibly be true. But it is. It's true. Stuff like this happens all the time. I remember I went to a bilingual Assembly of God church when I was growing up in high school, and there was this new youth minister, Pastor Phil. Well, Pastor Phil was a young, you know, energetic, recently graduated from some Bible Institute in Maine or something, super filled with the Spirit, and was like the new thing, and was growing our youth group, and people were just really like enamored with him. He had this great persona. He was ministering in like Santa Ana High School and traveling to different schools in the area, public schools, and getting kids out of gangs and doing all this stuff. But he was also boinking every girl at church, literally. I mean, it was disgusting. I mean, it's like, let me go pray for you. Maybe I can meet you at your school and we can go pray together. It's like, and this guy had a sexual appetite. It's just, I'm just like sickened by it all. And then I worked at Trinity Broadcasting Network, and the things that I saw there, and all the womanizing that all these ministers and people, they would like get favor with, someone, and they would like be enamored by their speaking style, their preaching style. Next thing you know, it's like I knew this singing group, right? About these two people. His name was Donnie McGuire and Reba Rambo, the daughter of Dottie Rambo, a great, modern hymn writer of the 20th century. Well, Reba and Donnie thought nothing about switching partners in the middle of their concert tour. They were on the bus, and Reba wanted the other person's husband, and the other person's husband wanted the other person's wife, and they switched. It was like, what in the world? I mean, it's like craziness. And people, they think that they can get away with stuff, if they don't talk about it. But the truth is that, there's lots of things going on, and there's lots of things being revealed. And I'm just thankful that somebody's finally speaking up. Somebody's finally saying something. Recently, a pastor up in Chicago that I used to work with, his name is James McDonald. He used to do the Bible radio, Bible hour or something. He was on the radio all the time. Well, James recently got busted for telling someone that they were going to, like mentioning that he was going to plant child pornography on a journalist that was speaking out, or someone that was speaking out against him, and not being ethical and stuff like that, and his church dealings and stuff. And he was threatening to put child porn on his computer and talking about it. Somebody recorded it, and it aired on a Chicago radio station last week. Well, Pastor James is no longer pastor. Pastor James has been ousted, but not before he swindled lots of millions of dollars from church people, and the church staff turned a blind eye. There's probably sexual stuff going on there too. It's really, I think of Christian ministry, and it sickens me, honestly. I think that there is so much that they have to answer for, and they think that they can get away with stuff, but they're not. They're not going to, because the truth comes out at the end. And I just hope and pray that, that these people get caught. There was a guy who was like part of President Bush's advisory council on religion and faith, and he was like promoting anti-LGBT stuff and all that. Well, he got busted with a male prostitute. I mean, this guy in Colorado Springs had a mega church speaking out against something that he was partaking in, literally. And it was like, I mean, so you can't fool people, for the rest of your life. Things are going to come to the surface. And there's a lot of homosexuality and stuff like that they cover up because they think that, first of all, I don't think it's a sin, personally myself, but what these people do is they demonize it, and they force these really creative types to like bury themselves in like, oh no, I'm not gay. Oh no, I'm not gay. I'm a creative director at the church. I have all this, creative ability, because there's so many people in the gay community that are just so uber talented. They have so many skills with regards to, creativity and originality, music and art, and and it's really sad. They have to bury themselves behind some facade, and they have to like pretend that they're not gay and repress themselves. And you know what happens when people repress themselves? They get sick. And why did they get sick? It's because they can't live their truth. I mean, I was getting sick. I wasn't able to live my truth of just being a feminine expression of myself, because oh God, you can't be male and have a feminine expression, and, isn't that what the mother father is calling us to, is to be able to connect with our entire self? And yeah, I admit I don't connect with my masculine as well, and I'm working on it, but at least I accept that I'm not a woman. I accept that I have no chance at becoming the other sex, but I can be me, and I can be proud of it. Sex is what brought us all into this realm. That's interesting, Patricia. If you wanted to expound on that, that's a really interesting topic. Sex is what brought us all into this realm. Because spirit beings don't have, sex necessarily. Physical, I think that, a lot of times, it's called eros, right? The love, that type of animalistic kind of sexual love is called eros or erotic or whatever. And it's animalistic in nature, right? I mean, it's one of those things where, it is like this animal instinct, and that's what, by being thrust into this third dimensional experience of being human and existing in these mammalian bodies, because we are mammals. That's what we are. We have been placed into mammal bodies, not different than an ape, not different than a chimpanzee. We've been placed in these bodies, in these animal bodies, that have animalistic urges. I mean, those of you who have a dog, and when it goes in heat, animalistic urges, right? Or certain things that go on in a gay bar, animalistic urges. I was in Walton Manors, and we went to a gay pride event, and the singer, the country musician that was performing that day, well, at the time, Mark was, living as a male representation, and we were right at the lip of the stage, and Ty Herndon, his name was, mainstream country music artist, had some great songs in the past and stuff. Mark raises his hand, I'm saying his because at the time, and the guy grabs it, places it on his crotch, and holds it there. And the crowd is getting all like excited. And Mark was just wanting to give a high five to the guy. The guy gets all sexual because a lot of times with men specifically, they have this urge that needs to be satisfied at that moment. And, they take whatever they can get. And I have video of it. He was holding it there, and Mark was trying to get it to yank off, but no, the guy held it there. And we went to the gay paper in the area, and they just laughed at us. Said, "Oh, you should just consider it a privilege. It must have been an honor." Ty Herndon never responded to us. We made a video. I mean, it was really pathetic, really pathetic. But I'm just saying that to refine, or whatever, just the fact that these urges, sexual, are animalistic in nature. Can't give birth without having sex first. Yet we hear about Jesus coming through the Holy Spirit, placing the seed inside of Mary. I mean, I'm sure there's a way of producing life that doesn't involve a physical manifestation of the sexual act, I'm sure. But I'm going to get on with my little article that I was reading before. And it's very interesting. These books that I've found, it's like, it's called the Forbidden Story or something like that. And there's so much interesting, information in here. Trying to get back to where I was. Trying to find it. I kind of lost my place. I had it earlier. It seems to have disappeared. So let me see. It's talking about. Oh yes. Okay. Here we are. It's called The Forbidden Knowledge, and this collection of books is just really interesting to me because there's lots of information here that has been hidden. So it goes on to say talks about the evil seed bearer. So we're told that from the very beginning in this planning cycle, that a false or an evil seed bearer, like I was talking about how there's two different seeds that are being planted in this world today, that a false or evil seed bearer had planted his evil seeds among the good seeds. And as spoken earlier, it states that the seed is the word. And as it states, another seed or word was planted by the enemy. Now Christ, as we know, became the living word via the flesh of death. The word of Christ is the voice of the Mother Father. And that word is the light of all men and women, true seeds, or the DNA that was cultivated in each seed, seeded by the same Mother Father, which then becomes the oral and written word coded within each of us, all the good seeds. I want that to sink in. The word of Christ, the Christ inside of you, inside of me, is the direct connection and communication from the Mother Father to their offspring. I think it goes into the concept of my sheep know my voice. The voice of the shepherd is recognizable to the sheep, and they aren't fooled by any other voice. It's not external. And I think that's something that the church teaches too much of, is this external, supplication, reaching out, hands up, trying to reach to the stars and receive from God, when what we should do is focus on going internal. When the word is spoken, it is spoken into the heart, mind, and soul of the children. It's not written on papyrus, stone, or rock per se. It's written in the testament of your own soul, of your own seed. So it's not like getting a commandments out of stone and having to live up to every single one of them. The word that is coded within all true seeds, and it's within us. It's not from the outside. It's not from some other location. It's within. So it's this remembering, like Jesus told, the thief on the cross, today you will be with me in paradise. And he's like, remember me when you enter into your kingdom. And it was like, remember, like, put me back together. Let me go back to the place where I was. Like, repentance isn't like, I'm sorry, God, for what I've done. It's more like, repent, go back to the high place, go back to that place where you were given the information, where you were given the insight, where you were revealed the truth. It's almost like, going back to your childhood, remembering how you felt, remembering things, because as we get older, we forget, we lose sight of, we lose track of, we don't understand things, So the word is coded within all true seeds. What this means is the characteristics of the seed that was planted by the father, mother, father, hold the true pattern of design created by our divine parents. And within that design, they install a communication and a connection stratagem that is direct from the mother, father through their son, the Christ. And, not literal son, not a literal human person, but this concept that we are all, sons and daughters of God, of the mother, father. I hate that word God now. I just don't hate it, but I just think it symbolizes other things, because our divine parents are not gods to us. It's like, your mom and dad, they weren't a god, and they didn't expect you to worship them. A god expects you to bow down to them, expects you to offer them a sacrifice. I mean, mother, father's not like that. Mother, father loves us. The DNA and the RNA of the seed is connected to the mother, father internally. So the true seeds are part of their mother, father. Each true seed carries the codes and the characteristics of our divine parents within our seed soul, or within the seed of our soul. And remember, this DNA is not of the flesh and blood. This is not about a body. It is a spirit. It is spirit and it is divine. So within the coding of our DNA, spiritual DNA, we are the mother, father, direct heirs of their heritage as an offspring, because we are them. They are us. We are one, right? We are a part of who they are, and we are a fragment of what they are as a whole, right? Therefore, I and my father are one. I and my mother are one. Mother, father, Christ, the seeds, the children of the harvest. I really want you to grasp this. The true seeds are unique. Each of them have their own personalities, their own traits and characteristics, yet all in their own way are deeply connected to all that the mother, father are and have always been. From this we know we were formed after their spiritual likeness and their image. Our true DNA is not of this flesh. It's not of this body. It's not of this dirt that's like somehow sticking to bones because of, gravity. Our fleshly DNA is not of the Christ, but of the Antichrist. Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom. Only the true coded spirit within the seed can inherit what is rightfully theirs. The flesh, or the human body, was made after the image of God, which is the God of this world, which is not the divine parent. And it is not the image of the mother, father. It's the image of a false god, a usurper. Remember, this life is death. Okay, this life is death, and death is the beginning of life as fruits are born. So from a seed come the fruits, and the fruits are only born after they die in the ground, and the tree grows and bears fruit. The forbidden knowledge. Therefore, in this world, we have what is called a God representing death and rebirth, building and destruction, laws and corruption. It's like all this polarity, all this duality, all this and that, right and left, day and night, as a usurper of the Father and the Mother. And in the spirit world, or what we might call heaven above earth, we have what is called the Mother, Father, and Son, which are life, regeneration, and incorruption. Death, represented by this earthly realm, is not our true home, nor is it where we belong. I mean, it's like the Bible teaches, and there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth, a new Jerusalem, and we're built to live here, and this is our home, and blah 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 about this earth, and this is the place where we belong. Well, this isn't our earth. This isn't where we belong. We're not from here. We were stuck here. We have a home, but our home is not of this world, because this world belongs to the Antichrist. This world belongs to the usurper. This world belongs to the liar, the father of lies, the one who fooled everybody, all of us, and tricked us into these fallen conditions. Nor is it where we belong. Life, represented by our heavenly realm, is our true realm. And this is where we came from before the world was, and where we truly belong before we fell, because we're all eternal spirits. We all have done this dance before. We've all been around for millions of years. We're old souls. We're not being created. People, like when you see a baby being born, it's not like, some new life in the sense of like a new spirit. It's an old spirit that's been reincarnated into another physical avatar body. The spirit does not need gimmicks and tricks. If the mother wants to speak to the seeds, they speak through not the Bible, not through a word, not through a written text, not through like something that your digital Bible, not through the Nag Hammadi, not through the Vedas, through their soul. That's it. You don't even need a word. If you didn't pick up another book, you would know the truth, because the truth is within you. It's not something that you can like not be connected to if you wanted to. If you wanted to be connected to it, it's there. It's available. It's the seed that we are that communicates with the Mother, Father. So we don't always need, nor should we heavily rely on secondary information from anything external, because we are already the seed and direct heirs of the Mother, Father via their Son. And we are all directly connected to them as a conduit of their force and power and might from within. But what if you are not of the seed of the Mother and the Father? Well, you will then willfully reject the Mother, Father, and follow another who brought in an artificial spirit along with a foreign seed, simply saying, you will not care. Thus the word was branded into your hearts and our minds until one came to steal away the word and pervert it. Today we believe the word is the Bible. Okay, this is not true. And this is a part of the lie and the false encoding. The word is Christ, and it is direct from the Mother, Father. That same word is connected into us as part of our spiritual RNA, DNA, and we do not have that internal word. If we do not have that internal word, then we are not of the Mother, Father, and won't even recognize them if they even spoke to us. So those not of the Mother, Father adhere to another force and a will that they will follow the God of this world. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because if you begin to understand this, then you will be greatly rewarded. When the enemy came and planted his evil seed next to the good seed, he created confusion, created chaos. What the Masons say, create chaos out of order, right? He set himself up as the creator and the God, and he declared that he was jealous, which is the sin of pride. He said there were no other gods before him. This is not the divine parents. Why was he declaring that there were no gods before him? Why was that? I mean, what do you think? What do you think was the purpose that he said, "Thou shalt not serve any other god. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Thou shalt worship the Lord your God, and him only shalt thou," all these, right? So who was there that could possibly be prior to him? Or who was it that could possibly be a greater source? The one who claims to be God rejected the mother father and tried to usurp their glory by creating his own parallel kingdom. And then he declared that he was the only God and there was no other. It's time that you finally grasp once and for all that the name of God does not represent the mother father in any sense or form of its meaning. The term God represents rebellion against the divine parents as one trying to glorify and take all homage unto himself as a jealous entity from the very beginning. And this false God declared and represented before humanity two trees, one that was the tree of life and the other the knowledge of both good and evil. In truth, he did not present anything to us but a lie. The tree of life is the true children's heritage. They are heirs of eternal life. I was just talking to my mom just this morning. I texted her and I said, the God of this world is not who you think he is. I said something like, that she quoted to me John 3:16. In Spanish, porque de tal manera amó Dios al mundo que dio su Hijo unigénito para todo quien cree, no se pierda mas tenga vida eterna, all that stuff, right? The whole thing about John 3:16. And it's like, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes will not perish but have everlasting life. Well, last time I checked, we already have eternal life. We already are eternal spirits. We don't need to be given a God to save us, to redeem us, to bring us back or anything, because we are already eternal spirits. So why would I need Jesus to die on the cross for me if I'm already a child of the mother father who was already a created eternal being? I mean, it makes no sense to be offering me something that I already have. It's not a gift. Eternal life isn't a gift. It is our birthright. It is who we are. We don't need to be given a gift to think that we don't have it. If we forfeit it, that we're going to hell to burn forever. It's just craziness. So what this false God offered was a new kingdom, one that did not belong to the mother father, one that was living within the existence of death eternally, by what is called the knowledge of good and evil. And that is the mixing of truth and error to what? Create confusion. He then tricked the true seeds, you and I, to follow the wrong way by using one of his own to become a serpent in disguise. And this is where it gets really tricky. I want you to think about that for a second. The knowledge of good and evil. This should already be sounding familiar if you have been reading closely enough. There were two seeds planted. One was the good seed by the mother father through the Christ. The other was an evil seed brought forth by the enemy, the adversary, that contained both good and evil combined. So it's like he had to trick you and I by presenting good with evil. Not just evil, because then we would be like, but with good. So Patricia says, only Jewish men write the Torah because men need, what is it? because men need constantly reminded. The reason Jewish women do not write it is because the Torah is already living in the woman. I think that's very insightful. I found that very interesting when I heard that from Rabbi Manis Friedman. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I was listening to Russell Means and his wife Pearl Means, Lakotas, and I think she's I forget what tribe she's from in the South. But, you know, Russell is not mincing words when he says that he needs Pearl to help him, guide him, to keep him in line and to keep him understanding these things, because men are not born with that DNA compass within them. It is only women that have that. They're the birthers, they're the creators, they're the ones that carry the seed of life inside of them. They're the ones that have that divine goddess energy to connect to Mother Father. And like Phoenix said, DNA memories live in women. It's true. It's true. Angels constantly read Torah to babies in the womb. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's so much to understand. And, the reason that women and the feminine has been put asunder by society is because there is so much power there, and they don't want any anyone to know about that power. They don't want to know, they don't want women to know their divine strength and their energy and what beauty there is in that awesome creative force. It's like I remember watching the movie Wonder Woman, and she was like not aware of how powerful she was because she was a goddess. Basically, she was the daughter of a god and a goddess, and she she was like in this training or something, and she went within and she put, boom, her bracelets together, and oh my gosh, it was like this mega wave of energy to just ripped away her enemies and stuff. And it was a creative, powerful force, and she didn't like, it's like she didn't realize it was within her. And Phoenix says, therefore God is a woman. And I totally believe that to be true. I totally believe that God is more of a androgynous female with the ability to create within and have a womb and to birth things into existence, rather than some man that has, like the ability to spread seed everywhere. I mean, that is like, it just makes sense, that God, in the sense of, the divine, is a more of a female androgyny than a male androgyny. And I think the two energies exist within, but I think that the creative force and the power that is produced is through the womb. And the womb is that connection, that spiritual connection that women have to the divine, and it's beautiful. I love learning what people believe and why. Interesting. Yeah. Patricia, I am native and the Bible was brought here. Our God is female here. And they did not tell anyone this. And, with the native cultures, you see the matrilineal societies and how, even in my Taino culture, the caciques and stuff were women. A lot of times, this was accepted, understood, and revered, honored, and treasured. I mean, something happened within European society where they got into this whole concept of, patriarchal, but even who was Columbus, um, serving. It wasn't a king, it was a queen, so this has been like just buried, I mean, it was like, who do we have in Great Britain right now, and have had for many, I don't know how many reptilian years this woman's been alive, but Queen Elizabeth has been Queen Elizabeth for a long time. There are no, it's like the kings are like puppets or something, they're not really literal kings, so Patricia says, many believe that natives are the original Jews. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. And that was something Derek was talking about, with Hebrew writings being discovered in these caves in Monument Valley. They are taking, what's that? They're taking our DNA. They took mine already. Wow. By force. I don't like that word, by force, because it symbolizes what Adam was trying to do to Lilith, and I think, Lilith got a bad rap, totally bad rap. So let me continue. I'm not going to go too much longer. Been on now for an hour and a half. Maybe I'll go for 2 hours. So it was a misrepresentation, and it was a trick. This adversary was trying to usurp the loving connection of the mother, father, and their children to rule over both seeds by combining them together to seduce them through misperception. The problem is God, not the father and not the mother, as stated in the beginning. He was the God of both good and evil. So notice, Genesis 3:22 says, "And the Lord God said," Yahweh, "Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever." What happened in that garden is the true seeds were seduced and they were tricked, and they were removed from their own divine heritage to follow a fallen God who had planted his own word and children among the good seed to create an internal confusion. So you think about it, it's not a literal Garden of Eden that was, like I said before in an earlier video, that was in the Fertile Crescent in Iran by the Persian Gulf. No, this was another dimension, another existence, another garden somewhere else, not here, not on this planet. This was the God of good and evil, the God of confusion, the God of war, vindictiveness, vengeance, wrath, and jealousy, none of which are characteristics or fruits of the divine parents. I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with our divine parents. They do not operate that way. As Christ often stated, by their fruits you shall know them. So when the enemy planted his evil seed, these could never produce good fruit. Therefore, we've been given an identification marker as to who these deviants are. As Christ said, a good tree cannot produce bad fruit. So if the tree is evil, so will the fruits be. Remember, the fruit is what's been produced. That's the finale. That's all. When all is said and done, it's all about the fruit. Now we have a clear understanding of the twofold method of this parable of the good seed and the bad seed, the wheat and the tares. The twofold method was that the seed is both the children of the mother, father, as well as the children of God, i.e. Satan. Also, the seed is the mixture of the divine word mixed with the false word, creating confusion. Christ warned us not only would there be false offspring growing up within the true offspring, that appeared identical to us all, there would also be a blending of the true word with the false word that would appear identical. The Bible is not the word, okay? They call it the word, they say it's the word of God. Okay, it is the word of the God of this world. How about that? I'll give it that much. It is Babel, and it is a word representing confusion. The Bible is the blending of both truth and error together by its own admission as the beginning of good and evil. It is the family lineage or the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This is why we were tricked into accepting the word in replacement for the mother father that was encoded within the true seeds within us. Therefore, you cannot take the entire Bible as the word because it's been laced with poison at every angle. It's a mixture of both good and evil. It is a mixture of both good and evil. If you drink it all, it's poisonous and you will perish. Yes, she is the word wisdom, as Phoenix says in the chat here. And the wisdom is calling, and it talks about wisdom in Proverbs. I don't believe that those verses, those words came from King Solomon. I do believe that they're ancient truths that were put into an Old Testament Bible, but it's been like basically plagiarized. Patricia says, the God that created us was plural, Elohim, angels. The truth is in the Strong's Concordance. It's true. It's true. And Phoenix says she was the son Shamash. Interesting. Yeah, you were talking about how the gods are not like anything other than the planets or something you were talking about earlier today. But yeah, there's so much. Elohim shot her. She was the son, Shamash. So therefore, you can't take the Bible as the word because it's been laced with poison. This was the trick. If you could drink it all, you'll perish and not be able to access the tree of life. The Bible was created to trick you and to deceive you into following a false God under the guise of the true mother, father. And how many people who claim to be Christian, who claim to know the Lord, which they probably do know the Lord of this world, and they're in for a rude awakening because the true mother, father does not know them. Thus it's stated, you must rightly divide the word of truth, as well as prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. God's word were the planets, the stars were the morning star, 7 around 1. They call this Lucifer. Interesting insight. I love native wisdom. It doesn't say to accept it all. It reveals to us that we must diligently seek the code using the key so that we can understand the mystery which was given to us to make sure that evil ones did not understand. Though seeing, they could not see. Though hearing, they could not hear. Jesus spoke to the followers of the God of the Old Testament. These were the temple priests, and these were the guardians of the law. These were the faithful followers of the old way, the way of bondage and confusion. But what did Christ tell them? John 8:40-45 says, but now ye seek to kill me, a man that has told you the truth, which I've heard of the Father. Yet you do the deeds of your father. Then said they to him, we be not born of fornication. We have one Father, even God. Jesus said unto them, if your God was my Father, you would love me, for I proceeded forth and came from the Father. I was that seed. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech? Even because you cannot hear my word. This is because the false seeds are not encoded with the true spirit or the communication cipher key. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh lies. He speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, you won't believe me. Christ was not pulling any punches. He was telling them the God that they have served was not the Father, but was Satan. Can it be clearer? It is important to grasp the fact that Jesus was speaking to the high priests of his day, the religious power, the political power players of Judea, and he revealed to them, as I'm doing now, that his Father was not the God of these priests, of whom these priests followed, that in fact their God was Satan, the devil. And can this be proven? And Phoenix says, Yaldabaoth, the Christ, she is Jesus, the sister of the divine twins. The church is the devil. Follow the word or just read it. Proverbs and Psalms. Yeah, I think there's lots of great things to be found in the Psalms and in the Proverbs. I really do. Easily. How do we prove it? Just look at the fruits. Jesus said, you will know them by their fruits. It was stated that Satan was the god of munitions, god of forces. Satan is the god of war. Satan's the god of wrath, jealousy, disharmony. These are the fruits of darkness. The God of the Old Testament proclaimed he was jealous, wrathful, vindictive, a vengeful God plotting against his enemies. These are not now, nor have ever been, the fruits of the Spirit. The father and the mother have no need to be jealous. They don't seek our worship, and they seek our love as being their children, not their serfs and peasants. They deeply love their own children. Interesting, Jesus was born only from a mother. Yeah, not from a father, from only a mother. Yeah. They deeply love their own children. Only a foreign, false entity would seek for worship and create slaves and bring men and women into bondage, as did the God of the Old Testament. You shall know them by their fruits. Now, some will say that this God brought forth the commandments, and he taught love and principles, and that he was good, and that was good. And so, how can you say he was a false God? Well, yeah, they were good things that this God there were good things that this God and his children brought forth, and Christ always established every good thing that was spoken must be adhered to, but every lie must be revealed and removed. Remember, a seed can grow into a magnificent tree, but if the tree is corrupt, so also is the seed. And the revelation of this seed revealed that this usurper is the God of both what? Good and evil. If a Jewish man marries a non-Jewish woman, his children are not Jewish, but a Jewish mother gives birth to only Jewish children. Yeah, interesting. The evil ones always use good as a trick to follow their evil, using confusion to mix up the soul, and it is still going on today. People have long believed that Jesus Christ came here to save us, but they never asked, save us from what or from whom? Why is there a need for a savior? Who condemned us in the first place that we need to be saved? Would a father, would a mother of unconditional love ever condemn their own children? Would you condemn your children? Remember, the hero comes to save us from the villain. This is what being saved and protected means. If the so-called hero is the one that we need to be saved from, then the hero is not really the villain, and it is not a benevolent or good parent, but a malevolent, evil usurper. Based on many religious teachings, we broke God's law and then we were condemned to death. But for some reason, he decided to send his only begotten Son to give us a reprieve of a law that we contravened, wherewith he had condemned us. This is nothing but confusion. God is here acting as the villain and the hero that we need to be saved from. The God of the Old Testament was not the mother father, he was a false entity who came here to sow an evil seed among the good seed, including sowing himself within the seeds also as a false Christ and a false mother father under the illusion of being an external God, not an internal parent. He brought forth his own children to live among the children of the father mother, and they all appeared to be the same on the surface until their identity could be revealed. This God was seen continually talking with people, living among people, visiting with Abraham, talking to Adam in the cool of the day, walking to and fro among the people, as it says in Job. It even states that Moses was the greatest prophet that ever lived because he spoke to God face to face. Yet, Jesus doesn't agree. He said that no man has ever seen the Father, heard his voice, or looked upon his shape. This was indirect refutation of the words we read in the Old Testament. We were told that the enemy would plant a false word right next to the true word, and it would be blended all together to create confusion, as is both and good and evil. And unless you're using the code key, you would not be able to tell the difference. And that code key is the DNA connection to the Father, to the Mother, and it is within us. However, if we're looking outside of us, if we're looking externally, whether in a law, teaching, or writing, or even to like a false God, then we become disconnected unless these things comply with what is encoded within us. It's like if you're listening to a radio channel and then you switch the channel and then your attention goes to another frequency and the original frequency is no longer connected to your awareness. Thus, you could be receiving the wrong frequency under the pretense that it is the correct signal. And if the word can be both good and evil, so also can the seed of humanity, which was both initially planted, also it was good and evil. And this revelation is to help us understand that a false seed or false children, were planted among humanity as the tares among the wheat. Just like the false word was planted next to the true oral writing inside the Bible to create confusion /Babel/Bible. Are you starting to get the message? Not everyone we see is of the mother, father. Just like not everything in the Bible is the true word. It's mixed with the lie. And the same follows that there are humans that belong to their seed-bearing parent known as Lucifer, as well as Satan, the devil, or the archon of this cosmos. You shall know the truth, know them by their fruits. There are humans walking amongst us right now, that are not like the true seed. They are not from the mother, father, nor can they be. They do not have the same characteristics. They don't have the same qualities. They don't have the same mind. They are of their children. They are the children of God and Satan. Now, what happens when one does not remove the weeds in their garden? Are they allowed to let them grow until harvest? Well, any gardener understands that if you do not remove the weeds, they will take over the garden. And at the end of the harvest, you won't be able to even recognize the true plants. This is revealed in the parable of the fig tree. The figs are the true children, but the leaves covering the trees are Satan's children. When a fig tree is nearing the harvest, all that one can see are the leaves covering everything. You can't even see the figs. You may even wonder if there are any figs there at all. Mark 13:28 says, "Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When her branches is yet when her branch is yet tender and put forth leaves, you know that summer is near. The branch represents a family lineage, the root of the family. When it reveals that it is tender, this represents the tree is full of sap, meaning it is bountiful, ready for amazing growth. When it speaks of putting forth leaves, this represents the tribe, kindred from the Greek source, the word psyche, which becomes phylon, and it means the descendants of a lineage. Thus, the branch is the beginning of the true lineage that will produce the figs or the fruit tree, but its leaves are the weeds mixed within that now cover half of the fruit. And this simple parable is referring to the children of Satan as his seeds, which are now seen as the leaves of the tree covering over the figs, or the children of the harvest. Remember, when weeds can grow, they will take over the entire garden. When it states summer is near, this is referred to heat theros, representing the heat is being turned up. This is what when things are ready to get very bad and ugly. This is revealing the time prior to the harvest, or the summer prior to the fall, when the children of Satan will saturate the entire world, covering over the true children of the father and the mother, as they will scarcely be recognized. Now, you know what Jesus meant when he told those people they were not children of the Father, they were children of Satan. And Phoenix said, and you people are to choose. Are to choose. It is in your hearts. It's all in our hearts. God's world, quote unquote, is about, bless you, is about lessons, learning lessons, doing right and not evil. I've heard that the fig tree was the forbidden fruit. Interesting, when you eat a fig, you eat the wasp that is encased in the fruit. Huh? You eat the wasp? The wasp. Like a literal wasp? Because then that wouldn't be organic anymore. Or it wouldn't be vegan. So, this wasn't a metaphor. This did not represent in type. It meant they were literal children created and spawned by Satan in some DNA creation, but intertwined within humanity using their same DNA RNA complex to breed among us all. They enter every race, creed, and color. There is no specific group of people on this planet that represent who they are. They are all side by side to each of us, appearing as we do. But their fruits are darkness. And the only way you'll be able to go and tell the difference between them is by their fruit. So I don't mean when people slip up and make mistakes. I don't mean when people fall. I mean their entire package is laced with evil to the core. There's a great difference, and they can easily be spotted via the internal connection we have with the Mother Father. The fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, faith, gentleness, meekness, temperance, which leads to life. The wicked ones do not show these fruits into their core being. They can produce a facade or fake it at times, but it will not come from their seed core being. Only the children of the Father, even in the weakness and stumbling, can even possibly produce these fruits at the core of their being, their seat of their soul, their personal tree of life. And that's where I'm going to end it for tonight. It's a very interesting fact, that these seeds that we are seeing in different people, the seeds that are these different people, is a direct correlation to who planted them, who placed them there. So Patricia says wasps are in every fig. The fig cannot grow without the mother wasp. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look at that information of how a fig tree and figs actually germinate, I don't know, and grow. Interesting stuff. Thanks for this never knew that. Yuck. Yeah, I would say, I think it's kind of gross that, that we're dealing with that kind of thing. Oof. So yeah, so what do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? Much love. Good to see you. Great show. Thank you, Phoenix. Appreciate it. I'm sure you're an hour ahead. No, you're mountain time like me. But it's getting late. It's 10:20. And I'm grateful that you guys have come on over and hung out with me a little bit and allowed for me to share some truth with you and some information. And I don't expect you guys to agree with everything I have to say. I mean, why? This world is way too complicated to agree with every single person. I mean, it's like there's so many options with regards to what we believe. But I'm just happy to be here, happy to be able to live this life and to discover these truths and to really understand. I will miss you, Lena and Phoenix, until we meet again. Yes, Patricia, thank you so much for coming over, and I thank you guys for listening and learning and hopefully finding out new truths. We just found out that a fig has a wasp in every fig. That was interesting. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. But I'll have some more topics for you guys. Maybe do a few more different topics and stuff, and talk about whatever it is that you guys wanna chat about. So we will see you. Patricia, nice talking with you. I love your knowledge. And I hope that, everything's well with you and your mom, Patricia, and that you guys are doing well. And I know that your mom's along in years and stuff, but just enjoy her. Enjoy having her in your life. Enjoy the beautiful spirit that she is and that wisdom that she has. And it's just a privilege to be around people that have lived, and have stories to tell. Not many people make it to a ripe old age, not many people make it. A lot of people, think they're going to, and they don't, and they don't. So anyway, I'm always open-minded with learning because so much of what I once believed was wrong. Yeah, so much of what I believed was wrong too, Patricia. I mean, it's amazing how much has been hidden, how much has been kept from us, But and Phoenix says, "Me too. I want to know it all." Well, thank you for sharing what you do have and the information that you are willing to share, and I'm just grateful. And if you have any insight that you wanted to share with me, you guys can definitely text me, email me at Lena's Life at mail.com. My daddy will be 97. Love this man. Parents are important to me. But yeah, you guys definitely have every right to just email me if you want to. If you want to get in contact with me, if you want to talk to me, if you want to share things, if you want to, whatever, whatever you want, that's why I set up this account so that I can reach out to people that want to reach out to me. So it's simply Lena's Life at mail.com. So I guess until next time, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for hanging out, and I will see you again. All right. Have a great night, and I'm going to try to survive this blizzard that's coming or is here. I don't know, because snow when it falls is silent. It's amazing. Have a great night, you guys. Love you. Bye.